With WVU securing yet another transfer addition to help out in the secondary, it's time for another transfer portal update here on the Country Roads webcast. Let's go! What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? It's Jordan Cruz back here with the Country Roads webcast. And before I get into this video, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Giving this video a like will help not only its performance, but future videos performances here on the channel. And if you're a West Virginia fan, Big 12 fan, college football fan, be sure hit that subscribe button. Helps us, and it helps you, as it helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, let's get into it. All right, as mentioned in the cold open, West Virginia has secured yet another transfer addition to help out in the back end, and that, of course, was the impetus for this December 18th transfer portal update here on the CRW, and that addition is Josh Minkins, a transfer safety from Louisville. You see here a big commitment as put here in the article shared over on WVSportsNow.com. Our friends who are doing a great job covering all this stuff here in regards to the Mountaineer transfer portal news, and we'll continue to try and update it here on the CRW as well. But you see Louisville transfer defensive back Josh Minkins now committed to be a Mountaineer, picking West Virginia over Cincinnati, Georgia Tech, and Tulsa, among others. There is his commitment graphic he shared there on his social media. If you guys want to follow him, Mountaineer Nation, head on over there and do that at Josh Minkins Jr. there on X. And I'll share some of the highlights that he has on his X page from some of his playing time at Louisville here momentarily. But definitely a good pickup for West Virginia. We knew we needed cornerbacks. We knew we needed a safety as well, at least one safety. And West Virginia gets that in Josh Minkins. As stated here by WVSN, Minkins was an impact player for Louisville in the ACC, recording 55 tackles, 3 PBUs, 1 sack, 1 interception, and a forced fumble. And that was despite only playing in, I think, 7 or 8 games due to dealing with some injury problems there. So I think he's a safety that can really help West Virginia. He's got great size, 6'2", over 200 pounds, great tackling ability, great ability in pass coverage as well. So can really play the run and the pass. It looks like they're at that deep safety position or whatever safety position West Virginia chooses to use him at. But let's let his play speak for himself here. I'm going to roll this little highlight video he has over on his X page if you guys want to check this out. It's a little bit less than 60 seconds in length, but it gets you a little bit of a picture of some of the plays that he's made during his time as a Power 5 safety over at Louisville. And I'm sure if you want to research further, you can find more film on Josh Minkins, but it's going to be a good addition for West Virginia. Let's take a look at some of his standout plays from his time in Louisville. So there's some standout plays from a big addition to the West Virginia safety room for 2024. Glad to see West Virginia continue to pick up transfer commitments here throughout this offseason, and we're going to continue to cover them as they come in future transfer portal updates here on the Country Roads webcast. But having said that, let's take a look now at our transfer portal tracker list as we can add Josh Minkins now to the transfer in list for West Virginia. And then I also have some updates on some other West Virginia targets that were on campus for a visit this past weekend. All right, so first off in our December 18th update here, as I scroll through the transfer portal targets list that West Virginia has offered scholarships to, we can scroll down here now and take Josh Minkins, remove him from the target list, and put him here on the transfer in list where he will join cornerback Aiden Garnes, who is, I think, a great addition for the West Virginia secondary as well. We can now add Josh Minkins' name to the transfer in list there. West Virginia now with 2 confirmed transfers in, but I think we'll have more coming down the line as we had several players on a visit this week. I'll scroll through this list one more time and I'll point out the players to you guys that visited this past weekend in Morgantown along with Josh Minkins, who's already announced his commitment. Who knows, maybe we'll see a commitment coming down the line from some of these guys as well. West Virginia had on campus Jaden Bray, a wide receiver transfer from Oklahoma State. They also had Isaiah Nair, a transfer from Texas, and this is a really talented wide receiver, guys. I'm hoping to see West Virginia be able to land him. He had a great career at Wyoming. Texas brought him in. He was going to be their number one guy. Dealt with some injury issues. That's why he ended up having to leave Texas, but I think he's a super talented receiver that we're talking about. Could be a wide receiver one type guy if West Virginia was able to land him. Excited about getting him in on a visit. And then flipping over to the defensive side, which is where we know we need to add a lot of bodies. West Virginia had several visits on that side of the ball as well. One of those being Ty French, a transferred defensive end from Gardner-Webb that I think coming up to West Virginia would be a prototypical fit at the bandit position. You go back and look at the production that this coaching staff had back at Troy from the bandit position. They really had some good pass rushers that were putting up solid numbers, and that's not a knock on Jared Bartlett or Tyron Bradley or anyone that played the bandit position for West Virginia over the past few years. I think that just since they've came to West Virginia, the bandit position hasn't really produced as far as sacks and TFLs the way that it did back at Troy. And a lot of that is, I think, due to the fact that you don't really have a prototypical pass rushing body there. West Virginia's had some guys that have done great plays. They've been able to get to the quarterback at times. They've done a good job setting the edge in the run game as well. But I think Ty French would give West Virginia a great pass rusher, something that we haven't had in quite some time. He could be a guy that, comes in obvious pass rushing situations, just, third and longs, fourth and longs, things like that, when other teams are going to obviously pass the football. Could he be an every down player? Maybe. They could mold him into that, but I think a prototypical fit for a bandit, especially in pass rushing situations. West Virginia had him on campus this past weekend. And then another guy that I'm sure people will be very excited about is a transfer linebacker from Ohio State in Reed Carrico. He visited Morgantown this past weekend as well. He's from nearby Ironton, Ohio. Talented linebacker, great size. You're talking, 230 plus pounds, prototypical linebacker size, and I think would be a great fit for West Virginia and a huge pickup if they're able to land Reed Carrico. And fingers crossed that they're able to do that and land another Power 5 transfer there. Had him on campus for a visit this past weekend. And then in the secondary to go along with Josh Minkins, who's already committed to the Mountaineers, West Virginia had TJ Crandall on a visit as well this past weekend. He's believed to be down to West Virginia and UCLA, if I'm not mistaken. So West Virginia still in the mix for TJ Crandall. Appears to be one of his final choices there as far as where he's going to land. West Virginia also had Devin Marshall on campus, a transfer cornerback from Villanova that is very highly sought after by many programs. I think West Virginia and NC State being some of the top ones there. West Virginia has a chance to land him as well. And then joining Reed Carrico is another Ohio State transfer who was on a visit this past weekend, and that's Cameron Martinez, a defensive back that will be a huge pickup for West Virginia. This was a guy that was a starting safety at Ohio State. So you talk about West Virginia trying to really shore up that back end. We know that was their main target area, obviously, by the offers they've sent out, by the commits that they've already gotten via the portal, and by the players that they had targeting this weekend during this visit process. A lot of these guys on campus were in that defensive backfield, and Cameron Martinez was one of those, and he's a very talented prospect from another Power 5 school that West Virginia would love to get a commitment from. So look out for some of those guys. West Virginia had them on campus for visits. They're getting close to deciding, so you never know. West Virginia could hear from one of these players that was on a visit this past weekend. But for now, what we do know for sure is West Virginia has 2 solid commitments to help shore up that secondary after we're losing some seniors in that back end. We knew we would need players that could help out next season. Believe we've added a couple that can really do that. We talked about quarterback Aiden Garnes in a pass transfer portal update. And then here on our December 18th update, we get to add safety Josh Minkins Jr. to the transfer in list for West Virginia, coming over from Louisville, a Power 5 addition to the safety room for the Mountaineers. Should really help out in 2024. So there you have it, Mountaineer Nation, another transfer portal update here on the Country Roads webcast as West Virginia adds help to the safety room. What are your thoughts on the transfers in thus far for West Virginia? How excited are you about Josh Minkins? You've heard my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours, not only on either Garnes or Minkins addition, but who else in that secondary would you like to see West Virginia add from that transfer target list? Or who made a visit to campus this past weekend are you most excited about? Would love to hear your thoughts on any of those topics down in the comments below. We really appreciate those interactions as we continue to try and grow the Country Roads webcast community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.